Hi guys, I'm just making this video really just to explain a statement that I made on social media earlier, that I salute Filipinos for going abroad and for working abroad. They are the nation's heroes. Let me explain what I meant like that. You know, ideally, I would love it if all Filipinos could stay home in the Philippines if they wanted to. I would love it that they wouldn't have to be separated from their families. I would love it that parents wouldn't have to be separated from their children year in, year out, year upon year. And the only way they get to see their children finish school or graduate from college or whatsoever is via photos or via Facebook posts. But that's the reality, you know. Of course, I accept the fact that some Filipinos go abroad because they want adventure. Some Filipinos obviously prefer to stay in the Philippines, but this is not what this video is about. The fact is, many Filipinos go abroad for a better life, to better their situation and to better their circumstances. You know, there are around 11 million OFWs, or overseas Filipino workers. And yes, I accept they go abroad in every single industry on the planet. They go abroad as airline workers, as pilots, as engineers, as police, as army, as coast guards, in maritime, in every single sector. And of course, I also say, and I've got no qualms about saying this, many go to the Middle East in a domestic capacity. It's one of the easiest ways to work in the Middle East, is to go abroad as a domestic helper. Some use the terminology maid. I absolutely hate that, but it is true that some go abroad in that capacity. But the fact is, whatever job somebody does, whether they are a pilot, whether they are an engineer, or whether they are a cleaner, they should all be treated with the same respect. They should all be treated with that same care. We should salute all the nation's heroes, because they all contribute not only to the national economy of the Philippines, but not only that, you know, they provide food on the table for their families. You know, that's the bottom line. You know, their work abroad provides a better life. And the argument is, and I would agree with this, it would be really nice if Filipinos didn't have to go abroad at all and could stay at home. And some people have said it's the government and it's an economic policy of the government. You know, I've got to say that realistically, the fact is, for many years, for generations now, many businessmen setting up businesses in the Philippines know they can pay low wages. If that's not the case, if you work in, say, a supermarket or a mall, why aren't you getting £300 a week? Why aren't you getting $400 a week? You know, when I went back home to the Philippines many years ago, I had a glass of fresh orange juice in a mall, and the worker in the mall said to me, you know what, you're going to drink that orange juice, and that's amazing, and hope you enjoy it, but it's cost you 400 pesos. Now, 400 pesos is what I get paid in a day's wages. Now, that's the reality of it. You know, can the government suddenly force wages to go up to $10 an hour? No, not at all, because it would decimate businesses, it would decimate the economy. Taxes are very high in the Philippines. Obviously, the cost of land, the cost of hiring office space is expensive. The cost of electricity in the Philippines is one of the most expensive costs in the world. I believe it's fifth in the world in terms of the cost of electric. So employers, and also I'm not even sure if I blame businesses, because employers and businesses have a lot of costs. They have a multitude of taxes, they have a multitude of red tape or paperwork, planning permission from the barangay. And of course, I know that this has now been more simplified and it's easier to set up a business in the Philippines. I accept that. But until it's possible to set up a business purely like a foreign company, you would come into the Philippines and 100% own that company. You're not going to get foreign businesses in the Philippines, because they have to have the Filipino partners in that 60-40 restriction. And until that's changed, I don't think the situation in the Philippines is ever going to improve. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is really to say thank you. Thank you so much to the millions of overseas Filipino workers around the world. And whenever you see somebody working abroad from the Philippines, yes, of course, they've gone abroad because they want to experience new countries and they want to experience a new life and a better situation. But for many, don't forget, they've left their families back home thousands of miles away. And of course, they work hard, they're caring, they're a happy people, a hard-working people. But realistically, many of them have gone abroad to provide for their families, and you can't change that fact. So this video is just to salute them and to honor them and to respect them as heroes, not only for the nation, but also heroes for their families. You know, it takes a lot to abandon your family, not abandon or just walk away from your family, but you're doing so that your families can have a better life, a better future, a better education. People ask me why I'm making this video. Well, I have 3 decades of experience of understanding Filipinos, understanding the culture, understanding the people. And, you know, I just got a little bit upset today because I think I was bashed a little bit on Facebook, on social media, to say that all Filipinos don't assume they're all housekeepers or whatever. Of course they're not. Of course, you know, whenever I fly on a plane in the Middle East, it's most likely that at least the engineer or the captain or the first officer is going to be Filipino. Whenever I travel on a ship or a ferry or whatsoever, most likely there's going to be Filipino crew members or Filipino managers. Whenever I go to a restaurant in the Middle East, I have no doubt about it, there's going to be Filipino management. Whenever, God forbid, if I'm in hospital, there's always going to be Filipino doctors and nurses who will look after me. So they are across the world in every single industry. But the fact remains, yes, there are many in the Middle East who go abroad as domestic helpers, and that's a very honourable profession. And the Filipino people are not a people who would remain on benefit. They are a people who want to work to provide for their families, and I salute each and every one of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Maraming salamat. God bless the Philippines. God bless you all. Mabuhay Pilipinas.